It's Tuesday, so it's time for another top 10 video. This time is actually going to be a top 9 video, and I'm going to give you my top 9 potions in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. There's not too many potions, but a lot of them I just didn't feel enough of a draw to even make 10 of them on this list. There's a bunch, they're easily searchable on D&D Beyond, and if you want to see what my top 10 potions are, stay tuned. Let's be real. This is my number 1 potion. Coffee. What's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and the ground rules are pretty much that. It has to be a potion. Normally, when I do magic item-based videos, I exclude legendary items. There's not that many potions, and there's really only like 3 legendary potions anyway, so I just included all of them. So that's pretty much it. On to the number 9. Number 9. This is actually one I didn't know about at all, called the Potion of Watchful Rest. This was contained in, or is contained in Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage, which might be why I didn't realize it was there. And it's common, so when you drink this potion, you gain the following benefits for the next 8 hours. Magic can't put you to sleep, and you can remain awake during a long rest and still gain its benefits. This sweet amber-colored brew has no effect on creatures that don't require sleep, such as elves. So this is a really cool potion. It's common, so in theory you should be able to craft it relatively easily. And you can drink it. Can't be put to sleep magically, which could maybe have benefits for you. But more importantly, you can get access to your entire 8-hour long rest to do other things. And I'm sure, and I actually want to hear in the comments, what would you do? What are your thoughts for if your character could ignore having to sleep through their long rest and stay awake those 8 hours? What would they do with that extra time? Number 8. Next is Potion of Aqueous Form. This is one that was recently introduced in Mythic Odysseys of Theros. This is a rare potion. When you drink it, you transform into a pool of water. You turn to your true form after 10 minutes, as I like to call it. This is the Alex Mack potion. While in this form, you have a swim speed of 30. You can move through other liquids. You can enter an occupied space of another creature. You can rise up to your normal height, so however tall you are, that could be a benefit to you. And you can pass through even tiny openings, extinguish non-magical flames in any space you enter. You have resistance to non-magical damage and advantage on strength, dex, and con saving throws, but you also can't talk attack or cast spells or activate magic items because you are literally a pool of water. Any objects you are carrying or wearing meld into your new form and are inaccessible, though you continue to be affected by anything you are wearing, such as armor. So in theory, it's funny that you could be a pool of water with like a 20 plus AC if you're like a heavy armor wearer or something. I think the limits, I think this is a really good one because this is one of those that'll stretch your imagination as a player. Like, what can I do as a pool of water? And like I said, Alex Mack. Number 7. Originally, this was going to be a top 8 video, and then I actually reread the Potion of Flying, which is a very rare potion found in the basic rules of the DMG, and then I realized that it is non-concentration flight. So when you drink this potion, you gain a fly speed equal to your walking speed for 1 hour and can hover. The downside being that if you're in the air when it wears off, you fall immediately. There's no feather fall effect, you just drop. It's very useful for classes like, say, a monk or something that has anybody that has an improved movement speed will get more benefit out of this. If you're standard 25, 30-foot move speed, not going to be as useful for you. But either way, unlimited flight without having to worry about wings being damaged for an hour non-concentration is pretty huge. Number 6. Well, if we're going to talk about useful potions that replicate abilities that don't require concentration, then the Potion of Speed is one of the kings. And that is, while you drink it, you are under the effects of the haste spell for the entire duration of a minute, no concentration required. Haste is one of the absolute best buffs in the game, and the fact that you can do it without having to worry about concentration, one of the biggest downsides to haste, is huge, because when haste ends, you automatically lose a turn due to your body having to catch up with this lethargy from being super fast and then slowing down. So that's why losing concentration on haste is bad, but it's going to give you a +2 to AC, advantage on dex saves, double your movement speed, and an additional action each turn that can be used for a variety of different things. So that is pretty awesome, and the fact that it's not concentration is pretty cool, because in theory you could imbibe this potion go to 0 hit points, and then come back up if someone heals you, and you're still technically under the effects of this because it's on for a minute, non-concentration. So it doesn't matter that you're unconscious on the ground for 2 rounds. When you come back up, as long as that minute hasn't passed, the potion is still going. At least that's how I'm interpreting it, right? Like if you go unconscious, your spiritual weapon doesn't go away because it's non-concentration. So I would imagine the benefits of this spell would continue. Obviously, it doesn't affect you while you're unconscious, but even still, again, excellent. The only downside is it is very rare, so it's not going to be something you're going to come across a ton. Realistic crafting scrolls of haste may be more common, but a potion of speed is, I think, more useful. Number 5. The Potion of Possibility introduced in Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. Do you ever wish you had Lucky on a character that doesn't have it? Do you ever wish you were a character with Lucky and you could have even more Lucky? Well, this is the potion for you. You gain 2 fragments of possibility if you're familiar with Critical Role. I'm sure you know what that is, but it's basically like a single-use luck point. And a tiny grayish bead of energy follows you around, staying within 1 foot. It lasts for 8 hours, or until you use it. When you make an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, you can expend a fragment to roll an additional d20. Alternatively, when an attack roll is made against you, you can expend your fragment to roll a d20 and choose which of the d20s to use, the one you rolled or the one the attacker rolled. And then again, if the original roll has advantage or disadvantage, this d20 is added in after the fact. You roll your d20 after advantage or disadvantage has been applied. Well, you have 1 or more fragment of possibility from this potion. You can't get another one from any other source. So yeah, in theory, you could be a character with Lucky, which gives you 3 of these, and then drink this potion and have 2 more and have a total of 5 uses of the Lucky spell for 8 hours. Or the Lucky feat, more or less, for 8 hours, which is crazy. Again, another reason why it's a very rare potion. Number 4. Potion of Heroism is actually one of my favorite potions out there. For 1 hour after drinking it, you get 10 temporary hit points that last for that hour. For that same duration, you are under the effects of the Bless spell, once again, a wonderful spell without concentration. And normally, Bless lasts for a minute, and it's on 3 targets, and someone has to concentrate on it. So for those of you who don't know, Bless is an extra d4 to your attack rolls and a d4 to your saving throws. So to have that extra 1d4 added all the time for an hour, plus having the 10 temporary hit points, that's pretty great. Again, no concentration required. I really like this. It's rare and it's found in the basic rules, so it's more accessible, I'd say, than the other ones we talked about. But I just really like it. I feel like Bless for an hour is huge, especially if you're in like a dungeon or you anticipate multiple combats in the situation you're in. Having that is pretty useful. I was pretty excited. Actually, I remember the instance where I read it. I was pretty pumped about it. So I like the Potion of Heroism a lot. Also, I think it's way better than the spell Heroism. Number 3. I mean, how can you not have the Potion of Invulnerability on this list? It's in the Dungeon Master's Guide, which I think the first time we've seen something in a while that's Dungeon Master's Guide only, not also basic rules. It is also a rare potion, and while you have it for 1 minute, you have resistance to all damage sources. I mean, again, you know you're going to get into a final fight with the big bad boss at the end of the game. This is when you pop your Potion of Invulnerability and enjoy that resistance to all damage. Also, really useful, certain classes may have resistance to certain things from abilities, from racial different things, from spells they cast, but this is just going to give you flat-out resistance to all damage. And on certain classes, on any class and any character, this is going to be a huge boon. But certain ones that don't necessarily have access to means to grant invulnerability, resistance other ways, this would be huge. Like, imagine, the first thing that comes to my mind is like a wizard, right? You don't typically have access to a lot of things that give you resistance unless you have a racial ability, but resistance to all damage makes you that much less squishy and staying in the fight for a lot longer. Number 2. Once again, we head to Wildmount for the Potion of Maximum Power. Again, a rare potion found in Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, and I like the thematics of this because it reminds me sort of like mana potions. But the first time you cast a damage-dealing spell of 4th level or lower within 1 minute after drinking the potion, instead of rolling dice to determine the damage dealt, you can instead use the highest number possible of each die. Again, so say you're going to cast a spell that does 3d8 damage and you have drank this potion beforehand. The spell does not do 3d8 damage, it just does 24 points of damage. I would also like to see a similar version of this that does the same thing, but for healing. Obviously, that's easy enough to homebrew, but I also wouldn't have minded if the Potion of Maximum Power did both, right? If first time you cast a damage-dealing spell or a spell that heals hit points, it uses the maximum number on the die. We've seen certain abilities give you maximum healing, whether it be a Warlock Invocation or a Life Cleric. But again, that seems like a potion that I would add. This reminds me of a mana potion in my brain. So that'd be your blue potion bottle. I guess we could make a red potion bottle. That would be our health potion that would let you do maximum healing. Again, seems like not like an oversight, but a simple thing to homebrew. Number 1. And if you know anything about the potions that are out there, I'm sure this one doesn't surprise you. This is the Potion of Giant Size. First introduced in Storm King's Thunder. This thing is legendary for a reason, and as someone who's actually received one in an ongoing campaign just recently, I could talk about how it is absolutely amazing. So what does this potion do? You drink it, you become huge size for 24 hours if you're medium or smaller. Your strength immediately becomes 25. Your hit point maximum is doubled, and your current hit points are also doubled when you drink it. Your melee attacks now also all have 5-foot reach. Everything you're carrying increases in size. When rolling damage for weapons while you're enlarged in this manner, roll 3 times the number of dice. The example they give is an enlarged longsword rolls 3d8 slashing damage instead of 1d8, or 3d10 slashing damage if used wielding versatilely with 2 hands. When the effect ends, any hit points you have above your hit point maximum become temporary hit points. So that is ridiculous because it just does so much cool stuff. Like it's 24 hours you get these benefits. So even if you lose the temporary hit points in that time, you still have triple damage dice. You still have, I mean, the fact that you're going to be rolling 6d6 on a greatsword is crazy, right? That's a ton of damage. And let's be said, like, what if your greatsword was a flame tongue greatsword? Then all of the damage dice are increased. Right? Rolling damage for weapons in a large manner, roll 3 times the normal number of dice. In my mind, I think that would improve the Flame Tongue's damage as well. Plus, you now have reach. Your strength is 25, so even if you're a dex character, this could make you want to use strength for 24 hours. And yeah, the temporary hit points is actually why it's one of my favorite things, because my character who got it in the game that I'm playing drank it to help escape a scenario, and then we didn't end up fighting anything, and I essentially just got double my hit points. As a wizard having access to this potion, I think I had 55 regular hit points, and then I had 55 regular hit points plus 55 temporary hit points. That's a nice buffer to have when you're the squishy person, but also the tank at the same time. So that is it for my top 10 potions. Like I said, there's not a lot. I didn't want to include oils in this list, though I could have. There's not too many oils either, so there's not even enough to do a list. But maybe if I had done that, I would have put it would have been a top. It would have been a top 10. I probably would have put Oil of Sharpness. Would have been my go-to. It just makes things a +3 for an hour, +3 to attack and damage rolls. Because the benefit of the Oil of Slippery or Oil of Sharpness is it stacks in theory with any magic item you have. It doesn't say like you can only put this on a non-magical item. It just takes a minute, and then anything that wasn't magical is magical and has a +3 to attack and damage. So you could do crazy combos with that. Well, yeah, that's it for my top 10 potions. Let me know what your thoughts are. What is your number 1 potion, whether it be your number 1 most powerful or your top and or favorite potion? Was it on my top 9 list, or was it something different and something that you think I didn't see, or maybe I missed something, or just give me the fun anecdote as to why you love whatever that potion is. Thank you again to my patrons on Patreon for continuing to support the channel and voting for these top 10 videos, although I took this one into my own hands because I'm on vacation. And then, again, thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would appreciate it if you did so, and I will see you all next time.